Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to 30 Minutes of Wisdom. We get together twice a month to support your personal and professional development. I'm your host, Robin Blank Mascari, and I have some special guests this morning. We have a little change in plans. Our guest who was scheduled today had a medical emergency, and so we have a treat for you, an unexpected treat. So I'm going to jump in and start the introductions because I'm excited about this morning. It was a creative venture between three of us late last night when we got the news. So I get to introduce to you two very special people that you may or may not know from the chats. We have Karilee Valeriano, who actually lives local to me, and we were doing a meetup last night. Actually, Karilee led it when I was at a homeowners meeting. And she's an experienced networker, has tremendous skills and systems and a joy to work with, has, great success in this profession. And I'm thrilled that I get to have someone wonderful local to work with. And then we have Jennifer Starr, who is a professional coach and teaches and trains coaching certification, a longtime friend of many, many decades. And I think you've gotten to know these two wonderful women on our morning calls. So you guys want to put your cameras on and say hello to everybody?
Good morning. Glad to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. Okay, Karilee, you're still on mute, hon. Oh. So
there we go. Hello, everyone.
well, this is a treat. So I want to start out, and the three of us were talking last night about, we've had in the last few weeks, we talked about inviting last week and this week. And our directors, our leadership team wanted to have Kai on Monday. So Kai's going to be on Monday, and he's going to talk about once after the invitation and they say yes, then what? And if they're really, really excited, how do you work with them? And so this morning we have a very special treat because these two women do something that's, I think a lot of people forget to do. Remember, we're in the relationship business, and that even if you know someone well, and even if you don't know someone well, is how to work together, how to get to know them, how to understand what's important to them. And we have our Getting Started guide. We know when someone's new. We point them to the Live Younger Success and the Getting Started tab. We send them the welcome letter. We have our systems. Do those things, but then it's time to connect and really connect. So we're going to start out with Jennifer, and being a professional coach and a coach trainer, she just naturally goes into this space. And the two of them just do a beautiful job. And I thought this would be wonderful to hear two different styles and how they really do connect and get to know who these people are. So I'm going to turn things over to you, Jennifer, to get the ball rolling. So Jennifer, go for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, I remember getting to know the Patches through Robin and Gregory on my visit. And I remember the thought of another one of these businesses, because I've done this before in many capacities in the past. But I've been a coach for 20 some years. And I said to Robin, how would I ever make a go of it like you? I work full time. And she says, you just get to be you, honey. Has anybody else remembered hearing that? And it was like, wow, but what do I bring? And she said, what do you bring? So, what it occurred to me is after this 20-year stretch, what I bring is my strength as being a coach, being present with people, listening, getting curious, asking questions. She said, just do what you do. Everybody's got their own thing, right? So when I started realizing how valuable each one of us in our own strengths are, it made me want to know more about the people I was sharing with, even the customers, as to what's going on in your life. So I have some key words that I keep in mind, and it's curiosity. How curious am I really in this moment? Openness, How open am I to learning from someone else? Another one is, how sincerely interested am I in understanding how someone else experiences life and the world? And am what assumptions am I making based on my own life experience that might keep me from being open to hearing someone else's experience? And the other key word is lens. What lens am I looking through, and what lens do other people see their life through? Remembering that we all have a lens that we wear that is shaped and clouded by our life experiences, our health conditions, our relationships, the messages we were taught when we were young, the society, the community we're in, all of that shapes how we see the world. So what I've learned as a coach is no matter how well you think you know someone, there is room to know them even more intimately. For example, my mother, she's always my greatest support. Mom, I found these great new patches. You can't believe it. Robin's doing it. Um, and she said, whatever, honey, just tell me how to get them. She's all good. And I didn't ask a lot of questions, and I signed her up as a distributor. And then she started sending people to me. And I said, no, Mom, you get to actually do this. And she said, I don't want to do this. And I realized, here's my mom. I never took the time to ask her, Mom, what works best for you about using a product like this, learning about it, sharing it? What works best? What support do you need? So some of the questions that I just never even thought to ask my own mother, I started realizing. And my own coach asked me, what did you learn from this experience with your mom? Because Mom said, I don't want to be a distributor anymore. How come I can't get little free samples like my friends are getting? And why do I have to be online? I don't like being online, And if I would have asked these questions in the beginning, I would have found a much better way to place her. Yesterday, one of my team members who's brand new in LifeWave, who is a very experienced coach. In fact, she was in the coach training program I took 20 some years ago. And she had the same experience. She was so enthusiastic about the product that we both brainstormed the people that she was going to talk to first. And she talked to the three that both of us thought, yes, this is going to be the best. And it didn't go so well for her. But being the good coach she is, she came back and said, okay, I need to learn a little bit more about what I'm doing that's getting in the way. And so she was willing to learn. She was open to seeing something differently. She was really curious as to what might have gone wrong. And she asked herself, what assumptions was I making? I mean, I know these people really well. So she asked all those questions. And I asked her, what did you learn? What did you learn? What did you hear? And she said that my enthusiasm is my enthusiasm. It's not their enthusiasm. Like, wow. So there are people that we don't know that I love getting to know people. So I want to know, I love Gregory's question on the doctor's calls. If there was one thing in your health that you could change, what would it be? What has you excited about this product, or maybe just intrigued or interested? And then just listen, because everybody has something different. What concerns or questions pop into your head as we're sharing, or as you're reading, as you're listening and watching videos? What makes you nervous? And what do you believe about companies like this? I think that Robin has mentioned before, um, that when someone comes in and says, "Oh, is that one of those companies?" Her curiosity kicks right in. It's like, yeah, and it's interesting that you asked me that way. What's going on for you about that? So that I can better understand what their personal experience is and that I can empathize. I guess for me, the bottom line is until I can get out of my own way, it's like putting a blindfold on and taking the hand of the person that you're talking to and stepping into their world and saying, "Can you describe to me what you're experiencing, what you're seeing? Can you describe to me what's important to you, what you would want me to notice on your path?" And describe what you perceive as maybe some potential barriers to having an optimal experience and help me understand. So for me, it's not that I will ever understand another person, no matter if I share the health condition or common career background or they're a part of my family. I can't know what it's like to be in their world. So um, my mantra to myself is keep seeking to understand. And when I do that, guess what happens? Um, who doesn't want to have someone interested in learning more about how they think, feel, experience things? They feel heard, seen, cared about, and and so my thing is for myself, if I'm less than sincere, don't talk to someone right now. If I'm less than curious, don't even pick up the phone right now. If I'm trying to sell someone on something or I have a deadline to make or a number to gain on my organizational list, it's like that is so not where I want to come from, because I want people to trust me and know that I sincerely care. So I just invite everybody to ask yourself, how might I be projecting my world onto someone else rather than being curious about what's going on in their world? And what is it that I need to know about my impact, whether it's positive or maybe make someone feel disconnected from? So there you go. This is
All
our
right.
spontaneous, yes.
Oh, that was so beautiful. And I had to take notes. I hope everyone else is taking notes too. To show up present, curious, open, sincerely interested, and really living in what assumptions am I making, especially for the people that we know well, like the story with your mom it's brilliant because it's profound, and like we make these assumptions, and what lens am I going through? And it's so beautiful, Jennifer, because it is a relationship business, and you're living in these questions coming from this place of how do I get to know these people, connect with these people. We were talking last night and you asked about their strengths and their not strengths, and we know that, we're here as, why don't you just share that piece, because you did it so beautifully and I'd love people to hear it from you.
Oh, about the strengths.
Yeah.
Everyone has their strengths, but many people are not practiced in being aware of what their strengths are. So when someone actually can pause for a second and reflect on, what is it people tell me about myself that I'm really great at? What do I know in my heart that I know with confidence that I bring to every table that I sit at? Everyone has strengths, and there are many assessments out there for coaches to really identify what are the strengths that might be beyond my awareness, but intuitively and inherently we all know where we're strong, and guess what, we all know where we're weak. And so how often are we focused on what we're not strong in rather than what we're naturally strong in, and why do we feel like we need to be everything to everyone all the time when this is not a Lone Ranger kind of work? This is a team. There are people out there that would love to come collaborate. Karilee and I are such a perfect team, and so is the triad here that we work together with Robin. And it's because we each have so many different strengths, common strengths and completely different strengths. And my very weakness of administrative detail and concrete tools to use is more than made up by my sponsor, Karilee, who is just so brilliant at pulling tools together and resources and just being this quiet resource of wealth. So anyway, I really ask yourself, where do I really shine in my life? And what if I took that to everything I did? And I kept my radar open for who's out there that could complement me, that I could buddy up with or team up with. And that's what our team does. And we meet every Monday, and there are people on there that are better at researching than I am. And I learn more from them than I would doing it myself. So there you go.
That is so beautiful. And this is a team sport. If we try to do it alone, it's not nearly as fun. It grows way slower and the results are less. And then when you work together, and like Jennifer said, this team we have up here on the screen of Jennifer, Karilee, and myself, we are really different. And you did a beautiful setup to bring on our master of tools and systems and structure and technology that I'm always learning from. So Karilee, would you step in and share a little bit about what you do from a totally different perspective, but actually the intention is the same. And that's the beautiful part. Both of them, both Jennifer and Karilee, deeply care about their people and they really want to get to know them, and they do it in their own unique, natural, authentic ways. So Karilee, I'm going to turn it over to you to share what you do.
Okay, I'd be glad to. I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen on here, Robin. Can you, in the mode?
Down at the bottom, there's a screen share. Is it up on your desktop?
I see it. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay. So what I do is I have a system, like Jennifer was saying. I use a lot of media and different things online. And so the system I use has an automatic email that it sends out. And I usually use my iPad, and I'm never a panelist, so I'm not really, okay, I'm going to try my desktop. Hopefully I don't have anything on there that, there it is. Okay, so this is the form that I send out in, I think it's my third email that goes out, and it's an attachment, and then they're supposed to fill it out and send it back, and everybody doesn't do it, but here's some of the questions that I ask. So what drew you to this opportunity? What makes, and some of these are things that Jennifer just mentioned. What motivates you? So you want to know for that person, what motivates them? You know, you might be sending them gifts, but maybe they would rather be recognized on the Facebook page. Maybe that's more meaningful to them. What are their strengths and talents that they feel will benefit the team, so that we can focus on that with that person instead of making somebody that doesn't have that gift. You can tailor it to each person. What 3 words would describe your personality? What do you think would hold you back from going all in? What is most important to you in a home business? Are you willing to commit for at least a year? That one is really important. How far are you in the training in our Facebook groups? Have you ever been in network marketing before? Jennifer touched on this. And by the way, I forgot to say when I came on, thank you, Robin, for this opportunity. And Jennifer, thank you. Aren't they beautiful souls? I just love them. Okay, and then I want to find out about their job. Do they love their job? Or what don't they like about their job? Because maybe they can phase out of their job if they don't care for what they do and make this something. So that could be a why. That could be the formation of a why. And then I love this about, this isn't the exact quote, but there's a quote about network marketing that it's really a self-improvement plan with payment attached. If you don't improve yourself, you're not going to get very far in network marketing. So you always have to be working on your beliefs, your attitude, the skills. There is a skill set that's involved with network marketing. So that's what number 12 is about. What would they like my role to be? Because I don't want to be pushy and I don't want to drag them. So how do they want me to be a partner to them? Which way they prefer to work? What will their success look like when they reach that success point? What is that going to look like to them? Maybe it's just $500 a month to pay for their car payment. Maybe that's all they want. I don't want to, like Jennifer said also, I don't want my idea of their success to be what we're working towards. I want their idea of success. Do you feel clear on what you need to do in order to have a successful business? Rate their beliefs on each of these areas. These are the 5 foundational beliefs that are in network marketing. What are your next 5 action steps? I'm here to work alongside you. And here's the why. And I think the important part of a why is when you say, for example, my why is to pay for my car payment, so that what is the reason you want to be able to pay for your car payment? And then you get to the next one. So let's say, so that I can use that money, or I have to make less, I have to work less at my job. And then that answer would be so that I can spend more time with my family. And you can keep going with the so that and get to the really the core of the why. Do you agree that it is crucial to be coachable, follow our system, and that you alone are responsible for your success? So that's the gist of my form that I use. And when people fill it out, it's very helpful and it helps me know better how to work with them.
That is so beautiful. Now, I have a question for you because there's fabulous things on here, and I know people are going to want a copy of this. So you agreed to post that in the Facebook group. Do you ever, Karilee, take the time on the phone, or do you just always send this in an email? Do you ask these questions to them in person or on the phone?
I don't do it as extensively. This will definitely lead to more conversations.
Okay.
And I do like to get to know people in text and on the phone as well. But I probably need to work on that instead of just relying on the email.
Yeah, it's, there's different styles. And again, when we were talking last night, different people have different styles of communication. So one of the things that's, nice to ask people, how do you prefer to be communicated with? That's not as personal, but it can make a huge difference because, some people are text people, some people like Messenger, some people like email. I know, and a lot of people know that I get a lot of emails. So if someone sends me an important email, they send me a text to let me know. So it's just part of the getting to know you. And there's so much richness here. I do want to share from all of my work in this arena of personal development. Sometimes when we get asked what our strengths are, they're so close to us, we don't know what they are because they come so naturally. A strength just is something we have. So, Karilee, if someone's not really clear on that, do you have any guidance of how they can learn maybe from other people or access more of their strengths?
I would say if you're on Facebook or any social media, to ask, put a post out there that says, what does everybody see as my strength? Because they'll tell you.
They will. Why don't you take the screen share off so we can talk a little bit? And that would be great because I want to see you. And that's one way to do it. And there's a lot of programs I've been in where we need to ask so many different people, if you were to identify my greatest strengths, what would they be? And so there, you can do social, people love to be asked on social media, and you will get a plethora of answers. So have fun with that one. So how would you state that again, Karilee?
I would just put a post, create a post that says, what do you see as my strongest traits or my strengths?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And what motivates you? What are your talents? What holds you back? And you mentioned the be here a year from now is, and getting to know if people have networking experience. So if someone does not have any networking experience, Karilee, what's the next step that you do if they have none, but they're excited to learn?
Mhm. I would definitely send them to our Getting Started, our success page, Live Younger Success. And there's a whole section on network marketing there where they can learn more about it.
Beautiful.
I think in a way it's an advantage to not have any experience, because then you start with a clean slate.
You know what? It is. And Gregory and I were talking about, LifeWave is, it's more of a business. It's not so much for like the hardcore networkers, not that the hardcore networkers can't be very successful, but it's such a special company because we get to share these amazing products and hear these stories and things just so organically build. So you're getting to, and the other thing we're asking about, different people are motivated for different reasons, and different people like different kinds of acknowledgement. And what's the way we learn?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
We ask. Some people, our tendency is to give people the kind of acknowledgement that we like. If you like cards and flowers and chocolate, that's what you're going to give. But some people like it privately. Some people would rather get a written card, and so taking the time. And so I'm going to share the quote that I think you're looking for is network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to put it on gallery view so everybody could see all three of us. So what other comments or questions before we open things up to our audience? Because I know, and everyone, Michelle's saying, what's your love language? There you go.
Mhm.
And you will put that form and make that available, correct? Because
I will.
lots of people are asking for that.
Yes.
And, if you're not natural at doing this will help you. And, what Jennifer said is, ask these questions because you sincerely want to know. If you're not in that space, don't ask. So what other final comments and questions do either of you have for our audience before we open things up for Q&A?
When I got this form from Karilee, I started to read it, and it looked like one of those inventories that we use in coaching that takes people days to fill out, right? I went, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. But I printed it up and I said, do you have time to talk? And so for me, conversation. So we went through a couple different times together where we addressed those questions without me sitting and filling out a form. And I realized, well, those are the kind of questions that we're talking about in conversation. But people need that concrete guideline. So use it as a guideline for your conversations even, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great questions John asked too.
Yeah. So Karilee, any other final comments from you?
Whatever way you choose to do this, I do think everyone should incorporate some way to find out about the people on your team, customers, everybody, how they would answer these questions. Definitely.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now we get to open things. Thank you, guys. That was a gift to our entire community to hear from both of you what you do to connect and have people get that you really, really want to know more about them and what's important to them. Because to me, business is a vehicle to get more of what we want in our life. And we're all different. And how do we know what people want? We ask. Okay, questions. You can put them in the chat. And there's a question in Q&A here. John Bishop says, this is great. Can we get Karilee's form? And he gives the information. Yes, we'll be posting it. He's not on Facebook. So Karilee, if you can send that to me, then I'll forward it to John, okay?
Mhm.
Great. Great. There's a whole bunch more. Let's see what people are asking here. So someone wanted to know the quote, that this is a personal development program with a compensation plan. Does anyone know the source of that quote?
It might be Robin.
No, I got it from Gregory, so it might be Gregory. But and Jim Rohn says, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business, because you are your business. We're entrepreneurs, and Karilee said that so beautifully. If you're not willing to, what I know to be true is whatever I'm dealing with in my personal life, this business brings it in my face. And I mean, for some people, it's picking up the 10,000-pound phone. For other people, it's public speaking. For some people, it's, taking too good a care of people and not developing an interdependent and independent relationship. So let's see if there's any questions from people. If you want to put them, okay, there's something else in the Q&A. It may be from Mr. Worry. It may be, but I don't think so. But it may be. You're right. And the Covey quote I love to share that fits so beautifully with all of what we've shared this morning is, the deepest need of the human soul is to be appreciated, acknowledged, affirmed, and understood. And by taking the time in the beginning of the relationship, it tells that person, whether you know them really well or they're new in your life, that you really do care and you really do want to know. And when people feel valued at that level, they want to give more. They want, it's beautiful. It gives them the psychological air to breathe. So any other questions from anybody about this morning and how to, and if there's something that you do, and we did have a hand up, and let me see, Patty's got her hand up. Let me see if, Patty, I just clicked and you should be allowed to talk if you unmute your line.
Actually, it was a mistake. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. Okay, is anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
Information.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, and part of this business is being flexible. Last night, late at night, we found out that we needed to shift gears, and we did it. And I think we offered something wonderful. So any other, those of you that are out there in our audience, because we got a whole bunch of you, what do you do to get to know people? And if you raise your hand, I'll open the line and you can speak, or you can write it in the chat, because we have a lot of experienced people here that deeply, deeply care, and we all do this in our own way. And again, it's doing it your way. It's being authentically you. Because if you're trying to be someone else, people know it and it doesn't work. I remember when we were first, when I was first working with Stephen Covey, and we were practicing listening. And if you've ever taken courses on listening and then you go practice with people, it can be very awkward. So what we would do is we'd tell people, I'm learning, I really do care, and I'm learning to be a better listener. And I might sound a little awkward right now, and so let people know what your intention is, and because you're going to maybe be behaving a little differently, but it's because you care. And that's what people want to know. That's what people really want to know. Any other comments or questions from anybody?
There's an anonymous single mom in the Q&A about how to incorporate a list of questions that are not too personal. I think that's part of why I'll have an initial conversation first to get a feel. If I were to create my own list of questions, it would have much of what Karilee has, and I would have a disclaimer that says just answer what you feel comfortable answering. And because if I'm assuming it's too personal, I'm again looking through my lens, not understanding maybe the lens that person might be looking through. It may not feel too personal to one person, and it would totally feel personal to another. So again, giving people in advance that kind of easy out to say, if this is too much, ignore it. We'll we'll get to know each other and I'll learn how to best support you. So again, I've gone back and repaired my initial enthusiasm from the first month. That was like, I went back to some of those people saying, you know, me and my excitement, you know how I am. I want to check back with you because I've learned so much, not just about the product, the company, but myself through this process. And I realized that I never even asked you some of the questions that were important for me to understand. And you know what? I have re-engaged people that way by just being vulnerable, being honest. And because in truth, we make mistakes and sometimes move too quickly. So
Oh, Jennifer, that is so powerful. So in the beginning of asking these, kind of set the tone, because we want people to feel safe and comfortable, and just set it up saying, you know, answer what you're comfortable with. I actually had someone I was coaching, and she was trained in her life with her family growing up. You do not ask personal questions. So, you know, and she wasn't the only one I've come across like that. And so we always want to be respectful, and things that come so naturally to some of us and we're so open about, other people are not that comfortable or safe. So we want people to feel safe to answer what, you know, feels right for them. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a really important piece.
we have to
Really
be
important
sensitive
piece.
culturally too, because now that we're global, there are cultures that, and so another question, what do you need me to know about you and your worldview, your perspective, your you know, the way you think about things, and help me understand, particularly if you're from another area, you know. So
That's boy, that's one of my absolute favorite lines that many of you have heard me say a lot. Help me understand. You know, I was in a sticky situation with a compliance issue with some people yesterday, and you know, there's always several sides to every story. And so I just said, help me understand. And I brought up the situation, and it was completely different than what I had heard from the other source. And so I just come from a neutral place, and then people will share what they want, you know, and what they're comfortable with sharing. Yeah, let's see. We have some few more comments here. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Karilee, for stepping in at the last minute and sharing your wisdom and hearts for helping. So many practical tools here today. Thank you, Michelle. And Jada says, I want to be like you ladies. Oh, how sweet is that? Julianne said, word vomit on people. Learning to listen more. We are programmed that asking questions that have fears and insecurity, or they don't want to like, or they don't want to like, they don't anything. I missed that last part, but that one of the biggest landmines that networkers have is because we love people so much and we're so curious about them. We talk too much. And you know, most all of us are guilty of that. So, you know, if you can envision, like when you do three-way calls, putting a piece of, you know, Gorilla Tape over there, and the potato chip theory, you know, give them one, create curiosity, don't dump the whole bag. Okay. Darlene says this training has been wonderful. Thank you for jumping in at the last minute. I know, I was so grateful. It was really fun watching this come together last night. Karilee and I went out after our stem cell meetup and we're talking, and I find out this news, and Karilee had the idea of Jennifer. So we got Jennifer on the phone. We're sitting in a booth in a restaurant and we created this. And I thought this is going to be really valuable for people, because sometimes we do things so naturally that we, you know, it's that unconscious competence. And in our business, we're always learning and growing, and we have such richness in our community. These ladies are a gift, aren't they?
well,
Okay.
I think there's lots of gifts on this call that are listening and being very gracious in their comments. And I would love to have everybody leave with one thought on their mind. What is my greatest strength, and how will I use it?
Wow, beautiful. And so I hope everyone writes that down and lives in that question. You know, my absolute favorite tool of the decades and decades of personal development work that I've done is the power of living in a question. Because when I taught Enlightened Leadership, we came to the room as a facilitator, not a presenter. And our intention and where we came from is the answers were in the room. Our job was to ask the questions. And when we do that for ourselves, we all have the answers to our most difficult, challenging, whatever situations. We just need to ask the questions and give yourself enough quiet to listen to the answer. Yeah, beautiful. Any other final comments from anyone before we close for today? Let's see. All right. Well, this has been, as I knew it would be, a real gift to everybody, because that's, you know, I see it all the time when I'm working with people, is people jump in too fast to talk about the product, to talk about the business, instead of starting with connecting and getting to know that person, whether it's a new member on your team or a prospect or someone you've worked with, you know, for a long time, is really using this kind of intention and curiosity and sincerity and caring. And it will take you far in this business. Trust me, it really will. Okay, everyone. Well, our morning session is complete. 30 minutes of wisdom. These fabulous ladies, Karilee and Jennifer, our community is so rich. And if you have something you want to share, please let me know, because we want to hear from you. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Happy Friday. This has been a gift to me and to the community to have these wonderful women on. And again, thank you for jumping in at the last minute and being willing, because you never know. You got to be flexible in this business.
Thank you,
Thank
Robin.
you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.